everyone, it's Caroline, Director of Marketing at Siege Media, and today I'm going to talk about how to encourage conversions on your content. For many of our clients, when we get into the traffic and brainstorming stages and start creating a lot of organic traffic, that could mean upwards of thousands, if not tens of thousands of visits to our client's blog month over month, just with a single piece of content. So it makes sense that once we get content ranking for our clients, we should start thinking about how we can convert those customers that are coming onto their blog content. And it can be really hard to do this in an elegant and effective way. So based on our experience and what we've guided some of our clients in the past, I'm going to share some of my top tips and features that I've seen around the web. I should note first that when I say conversions, I mean that in a pretty broad goal setting sense. So a conversion for one client may be adding a product to a cart, but a conversion for another client may be downloading an ebook or requesting a demo. So this is kind of a blanket, however you like to set goals and what your expectations are of what your blog content should be doing and how you can implement that in a professional and elegant looking way. So my first tip is banner ads within content. This is a pretty obvious tip. We see it a lot on content in general, is that, once it starts getting a good amount of traffic, just adding a banner ad either to the top of the fold, middle of content, or at the very end is a great low effort way to encourage click-through rate and to encourage more engagement on content. But I've also seen banner ads that are really poor and obtrusive or just ineffective. So I wanted to point out some examples that I've seen that I really like and think are doing a really great job. So one example is REI. I think their banner ads that they include on their content is really smart. It's not always super aggressive, which I appreciate from an e-commerce provider. They do a good job at having banner ads that are more lower touch points, lower friction, something like signing up for a class or learning more about a specific product. It's not immediately there to sell you, and it's not screaming at you, you need to buy this product right now. So I think that's a very effective banner ad option. Another one that I like is ProFlowers that shows related products at the end of every single post that are very well customized to what that post content is, and is also just a nice placement. I find that if you don't want to disrupt your blog content with a ton of banner CTAs, because that can really encourage bounce rate and make a poor user experience, just try doing a CTA or a banner at the very bottom. It might not get you as many clicks, but you can A/B test placement throughout the post. And I find that the bottom is still effective for many clients. Another one is NerdWallet as an example of a banner ad that's much higher up in the content, usually after the introduction. But I find that their banner ads are just really well designed, simple, well branded. It's in line with their content in a way that is not super distracting. So if you're going to do a banner ad that you want within the content, I think NerdWallet is a good example of that. And then my final example is doing more of an aggressive product grid. I like FrameBridge's example where, again, it's nicely branded and simplified and feels a little bit more seamless within their blog content. So again, it's not very distracting. So that kind of shows you the progression from ProFlowers to NerdWallet to FrameBridge of how you can incorporate a product banner ad more and more aggressively in your content, from going from the top of your content to the middle of your content to the bottom of your content, what that could look like each time. My next tip for incorporating and encouraging CTAs on your blog content is utilizing your sidebar. My colleague Barbara, our senior front-end developer, did a great blog post on just sidebar best practices that we'll link to in the notes. But it goes over how you can effectively utilize your sidebar for conversions. I find that a lot of blog sidebars are kind of an afterthought in the blog design and UX, when really that is ideal real estate for conversions and encouraging a deeper click-through rate in your content. I also see that brands make a mistake of busying it up with just way too many options. You should ideally just simplify it to 2 to 3 actions, maybe even just one banner ad to test out at first. So things that you can do to utilize conversion in the sidebar is obviously banner ads. I like this example from University of St. Augustine. It shows, again, just like max 3 options and very simplified. They clearly swap out these banners based on where they are in the semester and to encourage students to learn more. So this is a good example of how you can just create a nice clean sidebar, negate a lot of the unnecessary stuff like an archive tab. You can do related posts in the sidebar, but maybe you want to put it elsewhere so to not be so distracting. Maybe even remove social media buttons from that place in the sidebar to really draw attention. Another smart thing is just to have the sidebar scroll with the user as they continue to read content. So it's just a nice, reminder CTA to the right-hand side as they continue to scroll down the page. My next tip is pop-ups and interstitials. So these get a lot of people upset in the content world because we've all experienced bad pop-ups. They can be really obtrusive, just poorly designed. They can slow down load speeds. I think pop-ups get a really bad rap of just being a negative UX experience. But again, I think there are smart ways to use a pop-up and not have it hurt your UX and also not have it hurt your SEO. Do keep in mind that Google has released rules about interstitials and what are best practices to ensure that you're not getting penalized from a traffic perspective. Some brands whose pop-ups I do enjoy, the first one is Policy Genius. Their pop-up is very small towards the bottom of the page that comes up when you're on their content and you just scroll slightly, it'll appear. Something also that I really love about their pop-up is that the copy will change in that pop-up based on the page that you're on, which I think is really smart. If I'm clicking through to different pages and I keep getting the same pop-up and it's copy and paste the same copy across each one, that to me just expresses, laziness, and it doesn't make me really want to click. I'm more inclined to just tune it out. Another one that I like is on Braze. They have a nice pop-up banner that's well branded that appears as you start scrolling. That's at the bottom of the page. So I think they do an effective job at that pop-up experience as well. In terms of full page pop-ups, definitely follow Google's guidelines on what they consider obtrusive versus inobtrusive. So make sure that if you want to introduce some full page pop-up, you're not doing so at risk of getting a penalty or losing traffic. But I also think sometimes full page pop-ups on blog content is a little strange and too aggressive, because if we think about the buyer's funnel, a lot of blog content is at that top of the funnel. And pop-ups, especially a full page one, to me are way more effective in that mid to bottom funnel range. I think you're just encouraging a lot of bounce rate and a poor user experience and a poor reader experience if you're introducing that really aggressive full page pop-up right on the first click on a blog post. And then the catch-all, just a lot of other creative ideas that I've seen around the web that don't really fit in the 3 categories I just mentioned. I really like, again, talking about Braze. They have a little connect with sales text at the bottom right hand of a lot of their pages, which I thought was just like a nice subtle nudge to encourage somebody to set up a demo with them. It's not the best because as you scroll, it will collide with other content on the page and become hard to read. But I think just with a little bit of tweaking, they're almost there. The next one I really like is considering having your content be the call to action. So the obvious thing is to internally link to service pages. You should default be doing that as an SEO best practice. But to take it a step further, I love this example from MBroker where they do a insurance policy quiz where they actually quiz the user on just what do you know about your insurance policy and find out knowledge gaps for their customers, and then encourage reading more below based on the answers they got wrong. And you're basically building a piece of content that in effect is doing the converting for you and is convincing that customer to educate themselves a little bit and then reach out if they are interested in learning more. Another one that I've seen, especially in e-commerce and like home and lifestyle brands, is the clickable product images. So Pottery Barn does a great example of this, where you'll see a really nice styled kitchen or dining room image, and then the little plus symbols that hover over certain products that are in that image. And you can just click on them to open up a more detailed product description, easily add to cart. I think there's a little bit of UX and design tweaking that Pottery Barn could do to make that pop up a little bit more pleasing to the eye, but it's really smart from a conversion perspective to add that sort of feature on your blog content. And then finally, I really like going back to NerdWallet. In addition to the banner ads that they have in content, they also have a deeper CTA, which is more of a question answer format. So if you're on a blog post and you're trying to learn more about a specific topic, there will be a box that asks you a question with maybe 3 multiple choice answers. And based on what you select, it will say get a quote or learn more as an option. And that's a great way to get people engaging with the content a little bit more, make sure that they're reading what you're actually writing there, and bring them further down the funnel. So I hope all of these tips helps you convert better on your blog content. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment below.